Hello, if we're just meeting, my name is Busola. If you're always here, it's a delight to have you back here in 2023. Is it still okay to say Happy New Year? Well, this is the first time I'm coming on the channel this year. So, Happy New Year to you. I hope you're already experiencing and you're looking forward to a year of blossoming. A couple of people asked me after the first Friday why I didn't come up on the channel. And after the second Friday, I got more questions. We didn't see your video. Thank you so much. I feel loved, valued, cherished. Thank you. I did say to the people that in my video, Count Your Blessings, I mentioned that I'll be taking some weeks off. I'm sure they missed that little announcement, and if you missed it too, it's okay. I take it that you were enjoying the content so much that you missed the announcement. I did take some weeks off. It was a refreshing time, a good time to rest. And while I was thinking of what we should be discussing this year, there are some major issues on my mind, and one of them is forgiveness. And that's why today's video is about, you guess it, forgiveness. I'm not sure there are many people who haven't been offended by one person or the other, or who haven't offended another person. You know that feeling you get when you've been offended? You feel so bad, right? Sad, angry, or whatever the feeling, whatever the emotion is not pleasant. You probably want that feeling to go away as quickly as possible, if you're like me. But what can take away the feeling? Apologies from the person who's hurt you? Yeah, that could help. But how often and how quickly does the apology come? You may agree with me that apologies don't come as quickly as you want them, if they ever come. And if you wait for the apologies to come, for you to feel healed, for you to feel better about the hurt, you may have to wait for a long time. What to do then? That is why in this video, and maybe a couple of others, we're going to explore the matter of forgiveness. And my two guests today, Mr. and Mrs. Akeropo, are going to help us unpack this matter of forgiveness. Kayode Akeropo is the author of the book, Scars Do Heal. I'm sure the title of that book speaks much already. And I think I am able to describe Mrs. Akeropo, his able wife, as the assistant author, because I was privileged to be a part of the finishing process of the book, and I knew she did a lot of work behind the scenes. Mr. and Mrs. Akeropo, you're welcome. It's such a delight to have you here today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you, Ma. And once again, compliment of the season to you and the lovely family.
Thank you. Mr. Akeropo, would you help us? What is forgiveness?
Thank you. From my own perspective, I will say forgiveness is a deliberate effort to pardon, let bygones be bygones, and continue to life.
I would say that forgiveness is letting go. Just let go. Wherever anybody has done wrong for you, it may take a while, but let go.
Thank you. Let go.
Yeah.
Deliberately release. Yeah, I like that. And I noticed that in those definitions, there is nothing like apology. So I'm sure we'll be getting to that as we go on, but it really doesn't say when the person apologizes. It says you let go. In your book, Scars Do Heal, Omoye and her husband did such wickedness to their children. I mean, wickedness that could not be imagined. I'll let you tell the story.
at a time when the husband Kolapa and Nomaye were together, husband and wife, things were all right. The love was in the family. They enjoy relationship, good relationship. But as time goes on, problems just come into the family. It's mere anarchy. So the love that was once between Kolapa and Nomaye was no more there. Or divided loyalty from Kolapa. And that one, the kind of transferred aggression showed on the children. Yeah. So you now find out that in the case of these children, they were abandoned, and what each of them suffers or makes forgiveness a kind of a challenge, a complex thing for them.
Because children one of them didn't go to school at all, if I remember.
Dayo, the first daughter,
wasn't able to go to school.
No, not at all.
And Tayo, the boy, couldn't be registered in school until he was about 10.
You are right.
And she ended up being the oldest child in
Baba.
primary 1. They called him Baba, yes. He was always late. Then there was an opportunity to reconcile.
Each of them has got something to be angry about.
Exactly.
Each of them, but in different ways. The Tayo, when you read the book, or the sisters, kind of, oh, it's my mommy, no matter what happened, it's our mommy, there's nothing you can do about that. But for Tayo, having suffered a lot of things, it's like, no, that can happen to me. I can't go. Why should I forgive? No, I know what I suffer. If you say, this is your mother, fine. But to me, no.
Tayo was mad. He was always mad at the least mention of his mother.
That's the language.
No wonder it is said that if you don't forgive, what we call unforgiveness, it is like you've drunk poison and you expect the offender to fall dead. Yeah, you are the one that has been offended, but you are thinking when you don't forgive that person, the person who offended you, the person who hurt you would fall dead. But it's if you don't forgive, you keep reeling in pain.
Yeah.
Sometimes the person who wronged you may not even know that they've hurt you, and the person is walking free, and you are suffering.
Yeah.
And
the family issue apart. When you look at what I experienced in the secondary school, Senior Abeki, he's still honorable in secondary school. Senior Abeki and his friend almost knocked out of Tayo. So how could you forgive in such a situation? Tayo was thinking he couldn't perform well in his education game because he's thinking, did I deserve to suffer in the hands of this senior like this? So, if not for the fact that good teachers, they come to his rescue. Look, Tayo, teacher Liu, that wonderful teacher, call him, talk to him, and look, it seems things are not going well with you. What's the problem? That since that incident happened, you have lagged behind. What was the problem? We've noted.
And it wasn't only the pain of being beaten.
No.
It was the hurt that he had not forgiven.
Yes.
That was poisoning him.
That's
and
it.
stopping him
No
from
peace,
doing well
yeah.
in his academics.
Yes, no peace, no joy. There's no that not but the joy is no more there. And until look, Tayo, come to your senses. Have you heard about Jesus Christ? Have you heard about Mandela? Look, these people that did that, what they did to you, they might not have known, the effect, how serious it was to you. So forgiveness is about, okay, release yourself, get on with life. And from that time onward, Tayo, just continue.
Imagine. Just by forgiving, he was able to pick up with his studies and
Better
make
in
progress.
life.
Exactly. In Scars Do Heal, Tayo's sisters forgave their mother long before Tayo did. It's true that some people find it easier to forgive than others. True. And there may be many reasons for this. It could be personality type, but we know that forgiveness can be a learned behavior. If forgiveness comes to you naturally, fabulous, good for you.
Yeah.
But for many of us, it's a learned behavior. In my experience and that of a few others, learning to forgive is a journey.
Yeah.
So, Mama Kerobo, have you always found it easy to forgive when people hurt you?
It was difficult, excuse me, to forgive before I was in Christ.
Okay.
I had a case with someone when I was in my high school, and I said in my mind I would never talk to this boy again and I would never forgive him. He was just telling people that he was my boyfriend, which I hated so much. It wasn't. It had nothing to do with them. So I said, I'm not going to talk to this boy. I'm not going to forgive him. But thank God for Christ. So when I have Christ in my life, I was in the university. When I gave my life to Christ, eventually, I just realized that I have to let go. And I made sure when I went back to town, because we were from the same town, I looked at him. I didn't discuss about it, but I made sure I got him, I spoke to him, just for me to know I've forgiven him. It is now easier when I have Christ. If people hurt me, it may take few hours because it makes me to be unwell.
Yeah.
If I'm allowed to use that.
Yeah, sure.
I'll be going over it, and this is hurting me, not hurting the person that hurts me. So it's very easy for me to forgive people now. Very easy. I might just ruminate over it for a few hours, and I will say, you know what? Oh, I can't be dealing with it. It has to go. I will be the first person to talk to that person. Just for a sign that, you know what? I don't have anything against you. And even if I had, it has gone. So I let go easily now. Very, very easy.
That's good.
As she has said, we thank Christ for what he has done, and we thank God for his words. We say, forgive and I forgive you. Because when people wrong me, I look at it as, oh, did I deserve that? Why? I just forgive.
So as you both said, a very important reason for forgiving is that God says we must forgive.
Yeah.
We are Christians. We read the Bible. We're followers of Jesus Christ. And even before we got to have personal relationships with Jesus Christ, I'm sure we knew the Lord's Prayer. Yeah. And it says, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. So if we don't forgive, God won't forgive us. That's more than enough reason to forgive quickly. That is more than enough reason to forgive quickly, because we offend God.
Yep.
And we expect him to forgive us, and we ask him to forgive us. And
and if I may bring that one from where I was said, being Christians an advantage. But when Alexander Pope said to her is human, to forgive divine. And
to err is human.
To forgive divine.
Is divine.
Yeah. If you read Shakespeare and so many other literature books, you find out that, true unforgiveness, tragedies always happen.
Yeah, sure.
When people don't forgive, you find out that there's a problem.
Yeah.
And the writers, what they are teaching you is that, look, forgive.
Yeah.
Peace, joy.
Sure. And from all other things, all other places that we've learned about forgiving, is for our good.
Yeah. It is.
First,
it is, yeah.
And also for the good of the society.
Yeah.
And just like you said, ma'am, that for our health.
Yeah. It improves your health.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If you let go, you go to bed, you can sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you don't, you go to bed, you are tossing.
And whereas the person that offended you is not really
High blood pressure.
Why will you be killing yourself?
Exactly.
You are eating poison, like you said. You want someone else to die.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
It's not possible.
It's the person that eats the poison that will suffer from the poison. And like you just mentioned, now high blood pressure.
Yeah.
When you don't sleep, you get high blood pressure. So we know that it's good. The Bible says we should forgive. Yes. Literature says forgiveness is good. But there are practical issues involved in forgiving.
Yes.
Like you said, you let go. You can't just say, oh, it's no problem. Like maybe someone says, oh, you say, oh, this person did this to me. This person hurt me. Well, it's no problem. It's okay. No. You need to say it hurts when it hurts.
Yeah, very correct.
You don't say something is right when it's wrong. For example, we are Nigerians and we're used to this cliche, and Nigerian Christians, and we're used to saying, it is well. It is well. Don't say it's well when it's not well, when it's not okay. Don't say it's okay. In fact, if we go into the long story of how it is well came about, the woman who said it kept telling people it is well, it is well, it is well in the Bible. But when she got to Elijah, she said, it is not well.
Yes, my son.
My son is dead. And you need to do something. Did I even ask you to give me a son? And now he is dead. It's not well.
You're right.
So, when it is not well, when it is not okay, it's a problem if we say it's okay. So you need to tell yourself it hurts. And if it's possible, you need to let the other person know. If you have access to them, that it hurts. Mr. Kiropo, I think we would be helped if you give us those 5 steps to forgiveness that you mentioned.
Well, according to psychologists, there are just 5 steps which I find practical too. The first one is to make sure you record the hurt. You record the hurt. Don't say it is well when it is not well. Record the hurt. Then empathize with the person that has offended you. As I've said, that person probably did not even know, or the enormity, how great the pain they have caused you. But empathize. Jesus said, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. Despite the fact that the dead will think seriously. That's the number 2. Then number 3 is to make sure you deliberately forgive the person. And step number 4, commit publicly to forgiveness. Tell people, I have forgiven you, so that the person will know, sure, I've been forgiven. Then the last step is hold on to that forgiveness.
That's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Hold on to that forgiveness is that, okay, if there's any time something comes to your mind again, this is what he does to me, forget. I've forgiven.
Thank you for that last point. We haven't covered that in all that we've been talking about. You need to hold on to the forgiveness. You don't necessarily think that, no, because I say I've forgiven, it's all gone. It comes back. The thoughts come back. You know the forgive and forget thing that we used to say when we were children? Do you really forget? Don't forget. You don't automatically.
I have someone that say, he will always say, I can forgive, but how do I forget that? You just let go.
It's hard.
That's how to forget it. Because if it keeps coming to you, you're hurting yourself.
So it comes to the mind. But what do? You hold on to forgiveness. You say, I've forgiven. I've forgiven. I'm not going to think about that again. And maybe gradually you might forget. But it's also possible that you don't really ever forget. But it doesn't have this thing. It doesn't bite you.
Okay. Yeah.
It doesn't bite. It doesn't hold you. It doesn't have, so I like that again. Hold on to forgiveness so that unforgiveness does not hold on to you.
I'm tormenting.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mr. and Mrs. Akiropo. This has been beautiful. This has been fantastic. This has been amazing.
Very much.
Thank you very much.
And you've just touched on some other aspects which I know I'll be inviting you over for again on the Bosom Couple.
No
Yes, so thank you very much for your time. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing so generously. And don't forget to get your copy of Scars Do Heal, the book on which we based this discussion, for those other amazing and juicy parts. I'm going to put the links to where you can get them and phone numbers in the description section. And I know that you can get copies if you live in and around Newcastle area. You can get directly from the author.
UK.
They post it all over the UK, which means you can get an autographed copy, right?
Yeah.
So we'll put the contact details of the author. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Sharing
God
with us
bless.
today. God bless you.
Thank you.
And you, thank you so much for coming to Blossom with Busola.
Thank you all.
Today. Thank you for coming here. Thank you for your time watching. I hope it has been a blessing to you. I hope you enjoyed the discussion. And if you did, please give it a quick like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, this is another good opportunity to do so. Until we see you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Till then, stay well. Bye-bye. So if we bring it closer home, where we live in families,
Yeah.
how do you handle this in your family, in your relationship with each other?